So what we're going to do is go ahead and start our trimming process. What we have is just a regular frying chicken. You can pick these up at, Albertsons, Safeway, wherever you're picking up your chicken. You might want to experiment with different brands. We find that there are some brands of chicken that we won't use and others that we really like, and you'll figure that out as you go through the cooking process and you have your finished product. You'll be able to understand and know which branded chicken you like the best. So starting off with our whole fryer, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and butterfly it. First thing we're going to do is turn it breast side down. So you're going to have the back of the chicken. Now when you look at the back of the chicken, you're going to have the tail here, you have the neck in the front towards the camera here. What I'm going to do is you look on the back and you're going to see this yellow streak right here, right down the back. You're going to want to try and stay right within this outline on the back of the chicken as you're trimming it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my poultry shears and I'm just going to follow that natural line going down the back of the chicken. And what I'm doing is I'm just basically taking the backbone of the chicken out. Having the poultry shears makes this so much easier when you're trying to get through the skin of the chicken and trying to get all this stuff going and in the process of what you're doing. So same thing, what we're going to do here is go ahead and go right down the back of the chicken again. Don't worry, the chicken's dead. You hear the crunching and stuff like that. It's not going to hurt you. So this is the other reason why you have your knife, is when you have some of this fat that doesn't want to clear out of the way, you just go ahead and cut it away. So what we have here is the back of the chicken. All right. So what we're going to do is go ahead and discard that. We're not going to need that anymore, which then opens up our chicken. What I'm going to do is put the poultry shears to the side here. So when you look at this, you're going to see a lot of areas of this chicken that needs to be trimmed up. You're going to move this fat that's hanging here. We're going to trim that up a little bit. But before we start doing that, I want you to look inside the chicken here. You have this little white mark that you'll see right here. All right? This is called the keel bone or the breastbone in the chicken. The difference between butterflying a chicken and spatchcocking a chicken is simply removing this bone. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove that and do the spatchcock. If I'm going to butterfly, I'd leave it just like it is. If you go and you talk to butchers and stuff like that, they're going to tell you the difference between it. The reason why we take that bone out is that you're going to be able to do a lot more with this chicken. You're going to be able to cause it to lay flat like you want it on the grill, and it's also going to help with your cooking time. A whole chicken, putting it in there like a beer can chicken or something, is going to take a lot more time than it is laying this flat inside the grill. So in order to remove this keel bone, what I'm going to do is come up right to that white mark there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut through that a little bit. Okay? So then what I'm going to do to remove that bone is going ahead and taking the back of the chicken and going ahead and push it. All right? Now you're going to see this little guide. Just run your fingers through it. Same thing on the other side. Just come in there, run your fingers through it. So you can see that there's your keel bone. Once you do that, it's simply grabbing it at the top and pulling it away from you. And you'll take the whole bone out in one piece. What that did was now you can see the difference in that chicken. Now it's laying totally flat for me. So now I'm going to be able to get my rub evenly distributed throughout the chicken. It's going to make it easier to trim it, but the big thing is getting our rub in there and getting our flavor and seasoning into this chicken. So what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and grab these pieces of fat. Go ahead and remove them from the chicken. Always cutting away from your body. The other thing that you can do with this too is any pieces of fat that you see that you don't like, any pieces of the chicken that you don't feel are going to be edible throughout this cooking process, this is a really good time to go ahead and remove those pieces. The other thing that I like about spatchcocking the chicken is that it gives me the opportunity, if I want to, if I have a smoker that's smaller than the one that I'm using now, I can go ahead and cut right down the middle of this chicken, and I can have two halves of the chicken, and I can manipulate it inside the smoker so it doesn't take up as much space. But this is as simple as it gets right there. Now you can take this, you can take the wings, you can tuck them underneath if you want, under the skin, or you can just leave them the way that they are. We usually leave them the way they are, and we'll cook it just like this. Now what we can do is you can rinse off the chicken before you apply the rub, just to clean it out really good. A lot of people, what they can do as well is, if you're wanting to, this would be the perfect time. You can remove the remainder of these rib bones that are in here. You can remove a lot of the bones that are in here and just feel with your fingers where they're at and start slicing them out to make a boneless chicken. You can put stuff inside of it, you can tie it up, you can put it on the smoker. So there's a lot of multitude of things that you can do with this, but for today what we're going to do is we're going to focus on butterfly chicken. So the thing we'll do next is we'll go ahead and season up our birds and get them ready for the smoker.